she encountered a car accident. After waking up, she found her husband 20 years older, and with a 15-year-old child. What's more, she had actually become his ex-wife. She was completely devastated at that moment. On the second day of the new year, the weather was so cold that the breath exhaled outdoors could turn into frost on one's eyebrows and eyelashes. Yet, it couldn't stop the tide of travelers, for today marked the first workday after the New Year's Day. Many of the town's youth, who had returned home for the holiday, chose this very moment to make their way back to the city. The train station was a sea of bustling heads, with long lines snaking through the ticket hall. Octavia Ravenswood dragged her suitcase out of the station. She had drunk too much at a party with friends last night and missed her morning bus. Tickets for later departures during the after-Christmas travel rush were simply impossible to come by. Fortunately, near the train station, there were always private cars offering under-the-table rides, often cheaper than the official tickets. Those who missed their bus or wanted to save a bit of money would opt for these rides. But ever since she started dating Alaric, he forbade her from taking such unregulated cars, constantly warning her about the safety risks. One time, she couldn't resist the cheaper fare and took one, only to be scolded by Alaric for days. Alaric Ravenswood married her right after graduating with his master's degree. They were so eager that they skipped the wedding ceremony and directly registered their marriage. If it weren't for the fact that Alaric couldn't leave the lab this time, he would have certainly accompanied her back to her hometown. Thinking about how Alaric urged her to return home in their phone call last night, she felt an overwhelming sense of intimacy. Alaric must be missing her terribly. Octavia hadn't even stepped out of the ticket hall when a private car owner approached her. "Miss, going to city? $40 per person." Octavia sized up the private car driver. He didn't exactly give off any bad vibes. "When are we heading out?" she asked. "Hop in, and we'll be on our way," the man said, gesturing for her to follow as he led her toward the parked car. Octavia hesitated for a moment, knowing Alaric would scold her for taking an unregulated ride. But the truth was, she missed him terribly, so much that it overpowered her reservations. "$35, I'll knock off $5 for you," the driver said quickly, noticing her hesitation and immediately lowering the fare. "Deal." Octavia nodded in agreement. Besides, once she got home, if she didn't tell him, how would Alaric know how she had returned? Octavia quietly followed behind, tugging her suitcase along. When they arrived, she saw it was a black minibus. A quick glance inside revealed most of the seats were already occupied, with passengers wrapped in heavy coats, curled up to keep warm. To save fuel, the driver didn't even turn on the air conditioning in the vehicle. As soon as she boarded, Octavia felt the chill like stepping into a freezer. After settling down, she pulled out her phone to report to Alaric. Looking at her phone from her pocket, she noticed 2 missed calls from him, but the noise at the station earlier had drowned them out. She pressed the speed dial button once and called him directly, but after ringing 7 or 8 times, no one answered. She checked the time. It was past 9 in the morning. Guessing that Alaric might be teaching a class or in the lab, she hung up and sent a message instead. "Dear, I should be home around 4 or 5 in the evening. Tonight I want to eat fast food, the New Orleans roast chicken burger, 2 bags of fried chicken wings, and 4 egg tarts. Love you, kiss on the forehead, kiss twice. Kiss lots and lots." With a sweet smile on her face, Octavia sent the text, wishing she could already be home, pinning Alaric down for a kiss. Just thinking about him, his refined manners, his handsome, charming features, made her cheeks flush and her heart race, a tingling sensation spreading through her body. That kind of love, it felt carved into her very bones. Octavia couldn't help but think that catching Alaric during their university days must have been the reward for countless good deeds in a past life. The bus started moving, and the air conditioning was turned on. Octavia felt her frozen fingers and calves finally warming up. Octavia closed her eyes, intending to take a nap. Thinking about eating the fragrant fried chicken once she got home made her mouth water. The jolting of the vehicle quickly lulled her to sleep, unaware that her phone had powered off due to a completely drained battery. What Octavia didn't know was that this unlicensed driver was notoriously stingy. In an effort to save on toll roads, he deliberately chose winding rural roads, stretching what should have been an 8-hour journey into a grueling 10-hour ordeal, with no end in sight. Along the way, they passed through several tunnels, one of which seemed to stretch on forever. Inside, the lights were bizarre, a kaleidoscope of colors that dazzled the eyes, making everything seem distorted, as though even the road and walls were twisting in on themselves. Suddenly, a piercing sound outside the window startled Octavia awake. Her first sensation upon waking was the pressure of countless forces pressing against her entire body. making her ears ring incessantly. After a blinding flash of light and a loud noise, everyone in the bus was knocked unconscious, including the driver, who slumped over the steering wheel. Amidst the distorted lights, the minibus felt like a small boat tossed about on a stormy sea. Sometimes pulled forward, other times rolling backward in the unseen waves. Accompanied by a burst of intense light, the bus suddenly shot out as if leaping, breaking free from the strange circle of light, rushing out of the tunnel. Its wheels skidding wildly several times before finally crashing into the roadside guardrail. The violent impact caused smoke to rise from the vehicle. People slowly gathered around. "It's a car accident. Call the 911 quickly." "Hello, is this 911? There's been a car accident here. Outside the Times tunnel. It's a bus, with many people inside." Soon, the police cordoned off the area, and the bus along with all its passengers were taken to the hospital by the arriving ambulances. Meanwhile, the internet was already in an uproar. A witness had posted a photo of the minibus online, sparking a flurry of activity. Soon enough, sharp-eyed users dug up a chilling detail: the same bus had mysteriously vanished over 20 years ago. 19 passengers and the driver had disappeared without a trace, making it one of the top 10 unsolved mysteries in the country for the past 2 decades. Back then, City had even set up a special task force to search for this vehicle and its occupants, but there was no trace to be found. Many speculated that the unregistered vehicle's owner might have been a human trafficker, while others guessed that the vehicle had met with an accident. However, no matter what, this vehicle that had been missing for over 2 decades suddenly reappeared today. What exactly did this bus go through? This mystery prompted many media outlets to rush to the police station, waiting for the first-hand information. Yet, no matter how the outside world buzzed with the revelation, the dozen or so passengers inside the bus remained utterly bewildered. It was as if they had stumbled upon an unimaginable truth. What they thought had been an 8-hour journey, extended by the detours of a greedy driver, had not stretched to 10 hours, but rather 21 years. They went directly from the year 2004 to the year 2024,